I've been getting a lot of requests for more lessons on how to get from one chord to the next, and as importantly, to how to embellish a chord. In this case, I'm going to explore the E chord a little bit and show you a few things you can do with it. You know, we all know this E here, right? That's your first position. Then some people know this E, which would be like a C shape if you're doing the cage thing. Not that many people are comfortable with that one. I like it because I can do some kind of cool things. You can do an E major 7th. Cool sound. The nice thing about it is it's got an open E in it. So it gets you that. But more importantly, I want to talk a little bit. A lot of people know the power chord up here, right? We all use that one for lots of different reasons. But what I wanted to talk about was you can go some places by going up 2 frets, and maybe you're familiar with this, I don't know. But you got a chord here, you're doing your power chord, but if you make this a slightly different version of that just by moving up to the 13th, the 11th and 13th fret with your 1st and 3rd finger and hammering on. Some of you heard that, like Jimi Hendrix did it a lot with like Wind Cries Mary. He did it in a different key, but it's okay. I think he did it in F because he's tuned down a half step. But that doesn't matter. The important thing is we're trying to learn to get the most out of our E chord here. So if you just take that E chord, that power chord, and really once again move up 2 frets with your 3rd finger and hammer on with your 3rd and 1st finger on the A string. Now that's a million different songs that use that, you know, what is that? You get like Boobie Brothers. It's just E and A together, right? But by utilizing that those up 2, and you can still do sort of a box thing, like, and keeping it simple, right? So if you utilize that as a chordal lick, it sort of sounds like. Now what's cool about that is you can utilize it on any chord. You can do an E, or if you do D, you just move everything down 2. So that would sound like. Move it down 2. In D too. And you can get really a lot of mileage out of that just by riffing off of that little box thing. Now if you want to extend out, if you do that, you get more licks because you're extending up. On the B string, you're moving up to this, and then back to the little box. So that sounds like this. And then on the B string, E string. Just utilizing just those notes, you can get a ton of mileage out of that, really. But more importantly, I think, is using what I call chordal melodies. And just by taking that E power chord and then kind of riffing off it with that, what I just showed you, watch. I didn't really go anywhere, I just did, but I'm hammering on, utilizing, a couple of strings at a time. Voicing of that, it's like a chordal melody. Let's go down to the D just for fun. Drop down 2 frets. Again, just hammering on. And then if you want to go up high, this is for maybe a slightly more advanced, you can hammer this on. I know that's a little more advanced. I'm going all the way up to the 12th fret. Hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going the 11th fret with the first finger on the G string, 12th fret with the B string with the second finger, and then hammer on the 13th fret on the G string with your third finger. You've heard that before, it's like a country. So the first two licks sound like this. Slow motion. And then drop down 2 frets. Okay, so now you're on the 9th fret, working off the 9th fret with your first finger, and the 11th fret with your third finger on both. The G string, actually. So let me do that in slow motion for you, because I know that's a little bit more advanced. And those really go together. If you want to keep going, same thing on the D string, right? Same 2 strings, same 2 frets, sorry. And then, okay, on the A and the D string, same ones. And then land on the E chord. Now what does that sound like in slow motion? It sounds like this. Now, what does that all mean in context? Well, what it sounds like in context is if I'm doing those first box patterns I just showed you, which is just, strumming on an E power chord and then coming up those 2 frets, real simple. It's a little Van Morrison. So now I'm gonna move up a little bit. Just staying in that box though. I'm not even going to the B string yet. If you want to do a little chromatic walk up, a la Jimi Hendrix, how cool is that, right? Back to the D position, 2 frets back, right? And a walk up chromatically. And there's so many ways you can use this. I mean, yeah, it does sound very Hendrixy, it's true. But Hendrix got it from, he got all those moves from touring with all the old R&B guys, He got that from Curtis Mayfield. If you really listen, you can hear his influences from all the things that he did before he psychedelicized his playing, and got really wild with it. But it's in there. It really is, that whole Memphis style. So once again, let me just talk a little bit about what we just covered. So I talked about an E power chord, right? Which most of us know this, it's a bar chord. D chord, same bar chord. Of course, the nice thing about the E chord is you get to let that low E ring out, which is really, really nice, because, it allows you to hit a low E note, and then it gives you that ringing out. And if you move it up those 2 frets, it kind of it has this sound. You can slip and slide around. Like I just showed you. And then if you want to, extend out, obviously, you have to go up 1 more fret with the B. So instead of, now you got to go to follow that scale. But it works, and it's pretty easy because it's not a lot of movement there. But if you want to go up high and get that, kind of Steve Cropper lick, that's a hammer on from the B to the, from the 12th to the 14th on the B, and keeping that high 12 E. So you understand, I'm just hitting it once, right? It's a hammer on, and then. Keep going, and then resolve or rest on your E chord. So even though we do a lot of stuff down here, I've shown you guys all kinds of, that's more of a Clapton unplugged kind of. And I cover this whole thing at jimmydillon.com. I get way into the sort of acoustic blues, kind of songwriters, acoustic blues stuff in first position. But today I wanted to cover something a little bit different. I wanted to talk about, because most people know that power chord. This one, not so much, although I like it. That's something I'll cover in another lesson, this position. It's difficult for a lot of people. I was talking to my buddy Jason about it. You know, not everybody's fluent in that, but if you do get good at that, you can do you can utilize those same, and if you shake it, kind of sounds cool. You know, who's really good at that is Mark Knopfler. He's great at that. So anyway, that's the whole kind of E power chord lesson. There's so much more to unlock and what we can make the most out of in E, the key of E. It's a great chord. It's a great key, because we get that, all those open strings. We love that as guitar players. So we'll see you down the road. I hope you enjoyed that. Aloha.